at the Blake Street Tavern. That is, I believe, on the Tuesday, the 28th. That's at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for anyone that's going to be there. I'm hoping I can go. Last year when they did that at the Atlantic Bar in Chicago, it was over 21. I've got my 17-year-old son with me, so I'm not sure if that's going to rule us out of that. Other things that are going on, I just found out we've been invited to put together a five-a-side team. So I didn't think we'd be able to pull it off. There's enough interest with Dallas Spurs members that we will enter the Dallas Spurs team to compete with several other supporters clubs from around the country in a five-a-side tournament that Ledley is going to present the winners with a trophy.
I think
that's on the morning of the 29th.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think you need to invest in a fake ID for your son. For all these moments.
Yeah. Well, he's going to play in the five-a-side game, and I'm going to dust out my boots and gloves, and I'll go out there too, make an ass of myself.
Way to go, Papa.
Oh, well done. Good luck.
And you
what else?
You mentioned Yedlin.
Yeah.
Loaned out. I don't see him being on the first team squad this year. I really don't. Not with Trippier in there, and with some of the cover we have with Dyer, and even an Alderweireld, he can slide out there.
Well,
he's not going to be a right back in the Premier League. God, I said it. He's not.
He's not. He
shouldn't be. He shouldn't be.
And you see the similarities between Bale and Yedlin. Bale started out as left back and immediately went to left mid and never looked back.
Yeah.
That's kind of where Yedlin's going to be. I don't think he'll start at right back, though. I think he's automatically just going to be pushed in the right mid. And that tends to be how Klinsmann has used him.
What's different with him, Simon, and Aaron Lennon? I know there's differences. What are they?
Yedlin's faster, if you can...
I think he is
way faster.
I don't know about way faster.
No, I think he is. I've been watching a ton of him this tournament, this Gold Cup. His speed's extraordinary. I mean, I know the speed's not it's not the be all end all, but he's fast.
And he's a better crosser than Lennon. He really is.
I think he might be.
He becomes the best crosser of the ball from that position that I think we end up having, maybe except for Trippier.
But with all wingers, guys, what's the one weakness? What's the one weakness that all wingers have?
Tracking back to defend.
Boom. And what's his foundation? His foundation is bingo.
Well, and you know what? You could almost do the same thing with Danny Rose on the opposite side. In fact, we did when we ran that 3-5-2 at the end of the year, right?
You know what? You may be right, but at least with Rose, he started it. I mean, he's been training and playing in and around very high level football for a long time.
Right.
I mean, where did we get him from? Leeds, and then our academy, and then he was loaned out pretty quickly in Premier League situations, pretty young, and I think he got to play with us first team before we loaned him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Do you think Danny will end up going to midfield? Because let's face it, he going forward versus Davis is night and day.
True.
I think he's very good offensively.
I think he's...
Last year, I think he showed that, especially the last half of the season.
I think he's developed into something we never, ever imagined him to... I mean, once...
He scored more goals than anyone else in the defense.
And conceivably, you could move him into that slot even further up and put him, if you're going to stick with a 4-2-3-1, and put him in Chadley's position and slide Chadley, not even slide Chadley, but make him the alternate striker because he's so good in and around the box.
Maybe those are long-term possibilities, but for the here and now, you could. It wouldn't be a great stretch to say he was our best pure defender last year. I thought he was very good back there, like very good defensively.
So let's just talk about that really quick. 3-5-2. We ran that against Everton last year, and it came off really well. We controlled that game pretty well, I thought.
First half.
If you have Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Walker on that back line, and then you put Rose, Bentaleb, Eriksson, Lamela, and Chadley in the, or not even Chadley. Who am I trying to think of here? I can't think of.
Townsend.
Maybe Townsend in that middle, and then you run Chadley and Kane up front. I'm sorry, that's pretty stout. I think that would be pretty stout.
This all leads to the other, the other argument, or the big argument that we have about tactics and coaching is the inflexibility of Pochettino, and does he have the willingness to? I mean, I think he's got a squad of players now, or it appears that he's going to have a squad of players where he's got a lot of permutations that he can have at his disposal. He never really seemed, other than the Everton match. What were other matches where he showed tactical flexibility and use different formations other than the 4-2-3-1.
Didn't we run a 4-3-3 for like a certain part of second halves near the end of the season? Didn't we morph into something like that? I thought.
Well, we may have
more out of necessity of injury than anything. But it seemed like when we changed the formations around, things really went well.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I mean, I think a lot of people would say that Lamela is not going to be a wide man in the Premier League, and that he seems to shine more in these sort of more central,
number 10
very
role,
very fast thinking, one touch pass and move type environments. And so maybe you move out Eriksen to the left, and maybe this is a good segue for what are we going to do with Pritchard and Dele Alli?
No, and you got Joshua Noma coming up as well, who's a talent that a lot of clubs are after, and Tottenham have said absolutely not. We're not selling him. There's a lot of really good young midfield players that are going to get an opportunity, I think, and Tom Carroll is still in the mix too. So there's a lot to choose from, and I think this off season, or this preseason rather, is going to be, you're going to end up with the absolute best possible midfield that you can get, and do you still maybe go after a McCarthy?
Well, I think we have to. Here's what'll happen. We're either going to get a central defensive midfielder, that's a step up, and if we don't do that, there's no way we're going to sell Dembele. There's no way we can do that. I mean, you can only, and I don't. I mean, next to McCarthy, I think we got linked with a CDM at Atletico Madrid, but there's not. Jordi Klaasie. I mean, a little bit of a shout-out to our friend Mark Ashhead, who spotted Klaasie years ago. And he sent me a message today, and I said to myself, boy, he's probably right. We'll probably end up buying a player that got sold for £8 million is probably somebody that's going to end up at us at some point in time for 20 or 25.
You know what? I still like, at the end of the season I mentioned him, I still like Nzonzi. I think statistically he was excellent, but statistics don't really tell the whole story. And you have to get Mitchell and these guys in Broomfield to buy into some of these players. When you look at our team stats last year, Fazio was the best defender we had statistically, but he was not by any means the best defender we had. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, I guess, the numbers. But Nzonzi, I think, would be a pretty neat addition, and I think he would be a little bit. No, it's Stoke.
Oh, it's Stoke.
I think he would be a step up from Mason, to be quite honest.
Oh, wait. Is that the one that? No, he just went to Spain. He just
did he?
Sevilla bought him.
Okay,
and
that's
a lot of people were saying that. Well, you got to see him play. Yeah, no, you got to see him play, and there were a lot of people. There were a lot of Stoke fans. Like I remember reading a tweet from somebody who was friends with a very knowledable Stoke fan. Said he's the best player we had. I mean, he'd be brilliant, and we didn't. Anyway. CDM striker rumor. I guess we're back in for Chicharito
and Berahino, both of them.
Yeah,
those won't die. They've been around for 2 years.
It's just the press. The press identifies universal players, and agents will trickle stories just to get their deals going, and the press bite it every time. Who knows what's true?
Yeah.
So let's go full circle back to Yedlin. Mm-hmm. Does he get that loan move? I say yes, he does. Yeah. He'll play for a Premier League team.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Hopefully,
see him ended up.
I mean, there was rumored Norwich that he was going to go to Norwich for the season. I think for him to be played in a right midfield position, that's not going to be a gamble Poch is going to do in his first full season. And if that was the case, he would be using him from the bench. So I think it makes good sense for him to go somewhere and ply his trade with a full season with someone that would use him 80-90% of the time in the starting lineup.
And possibly in a midfield role, so he could really get used to that. So.
And I think, to be honest, that's going to be that's going to happen to Dele Alli as well.
Don't think so.
I think he's too young. I think he's too young to be part of the first team. And I don't think it would be in his best interest to be on the bench.
He is pushing.
Whereas Pritchard has his experience. He's now older, wiser. Again, not necessarily a starter, but I can see him in the first team squad being involved. And I think that Dele Alli yesterday didn't get any action in either game.
He didn't.
The closed door game with Reading, he certainly wasn't in the Peterborough squad. Yet Milton Keynes were running away in their friendly 12-0.
Does it make you
game.
pause, Simon, that we only win 1-0 and Eriksson played in that game?
Yes, I had my say on that on Twitter the other day, and I don't want to open that can of worms, but we really have a slate of very few what I would consider first-class preseason games. We can't count one at Peterborough. That was a Spurs 11 that didn't feature any first-team players. So the first full, proper, whatever you want to call it, preseason game is the MLS All-Star game.
And then it's like
followed by the Audi Cup.
The Audi Cup will be nice.
Who's the worst team there other than us? Like Real? Is it Real?
Yeah, they're really. I can't say it. I can't say pony. They're utter wank. So we really have we haven't laid our stall out in that regard. And some people have said that's not good enough. Some people said, who cares? They're getting the match practice behind these closed door games. And, I'm sure they are definitely getting pushed through the ringer. We can see that in the training. The players are saying that. We know that Poch's routine and his training regime is hardcore, and it showed for us. And I think we flagged a little bit towards the end of the season, but it certainly gave us that impetus when we were winning those last-minute games. But I'm a little concerned that we've not gone out there and had a bunch of preseason friendlies that we had before. Not because it's tradition or it's something we should do. I just think that proves to us as the fans that we've got a team that can compete. And we're not seeing that. And again, Reading 1-0, Southend 4-0. We're playing a mix of players. I mean, Shaq Coulters is playing with the first team squad. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we've determined, Harry's just returned. So who do you think is coming to Denver?
That made you laugh, didn't it, Ken?
Yeah, that did make me laugh.
Who do you think?
Check your phone, Simon.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, sorry. That was highly unprofessional of me. I apologize.
So who do you think is coming to Denver?
Oh,
well, we know who's probably not. We know who's probably not.
Hugo is not coming to.
I hope he comes, because he didn't come to bloody Chicago last year, and so
I just don't see it with the wrist, with his broken wrist.
Yeah,
but I think he should come for the bonding. And is that too much of a pun? Bonding? No. He wouldn't want to be fractured from the squad.
Oh God! I heard that he was in pieces, that he couldn't make that trip.
You guys are awful. That is just absolutely awful. We lost our sponsorship for the year because
probably. We had to get Hugo's wrist in there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, on a serious note, though, being the keeper that he is, he's got to have full confidence in his wrists. And I don't know how long it takes to recover from something like that. I've never broken a bone.
So weird.
In my wrist, but I have no idea how long that's really going to take.
Wrist if you're not training?
I don't want to know. I do.
Well, the thing was, so it was announced, I think, by Spurs. Hey, look who's back in training. 5 hours later, it was announced that he had a hairline fracture in his wrist. So he's not in a full cast. He's in a brace. It happened apparently 3 weeks before that, but I guess he didn't know. And he just had some discomfort in his wrist. I don't know the full story, but obviously the conspiracy theorists were having a field day about this, thinking that this was how he was getting to United. So I don't know where some fans really come up with this stuff, to come up with these stories. It's like, dude, can you not believe it for what it is at face value? I think there is that matter of distrust. Yeah. But he's still training with the squad. He's getting his workouts, and again, I hope he comes over to Denver so we all get to meet him. And granted, he's not probably going to be out there in open training, but hopefully he'll be there in some capacity with the squad. Open training, going back to the All-Star game, open training is, I believe, 10 a.m. for anyone that's there on the 28th. I think, Ken, it wasn't that early when we were in Chicago last year, was it?
No.
It was in early afternoon or noon?
Yeah, it was around noon.
2 o'clock?
Something like that.
Yeah, but now, I mean, the MLS All-Stars are training right after. So that's put the kibosh on a lot of people's plans who were flying in early that Tuesday. So it is what it is. yeah, hopefully I'll have the opportunity to meet the players like I did last year. We'll see. Which is a good segue into the All-Star game. We know the All-Stars are playing in white with a sash. What a